very much for attending. I will talk now about my experience migrating our content to Drupal. I will answer the questions at the end of the session as well, because I can manage that way much better. Yes, I will start now telling who am I. I am Sarah. I come from Spain. I studied translation and interpreting in Madrid. And in 2012, I decided to move to, I decided to move to Germany. I then started working at Opawol as a translator, product owner, and currently I am the head of content of Opawol. I am also a certified Scrum Master and also a certified Agile content strategist. And I don't tell that to show off. I just think it's very important to know my background, to understand how I approach our migration to Drupal. I think it is also really important to understand what is Opawol, to really see the scope of the project we had to tackle. Opawol is an operating platform based on the self-matching principle. An au pair actually is a young person going abroad to take care of the children of a family while learning a new language, for those of you who may not know the concept. The company was granted in 1999. We are actually the market leader worldwide. We have the website translated in 6 languages, and we have had more than 3 million happy customers up to now. The company, we are 30 people, and we work mainly in 4 departments, namely content and social media, UX, IT, and support. It's also very important to understand that Opawol is a content website and also a functionality website. That means our users can read a lot of information on our website, and they can also use the functionality of finding their match. In 1999, we start working with an old content management system called Akayo, and it was our CMS, but it was also our customer relationship manager at the time. This CMS grew organically in the times where there was no SEO, where more was more actually. And here you can see the tree structure we had. And I must say it worked perfectly for years, but at some point it was just outdated. It had a lot of disadvantages, like a fixed structure. You always needed to publish English first, was really contrary to any localization principle. And HTML knowledge was needed as well. So every content editor could actually became a front-end developer, kind of, but it was really difficult to manage everything. So in 2017, our 2 CEOs decided that it was time to move to a new content management system. We decided to go for Drupal, and I was assigned like the project manager of the project. I was really happy, but my first thought was, okay, challenge accepted. Why was it a challenge? Mainly because we had a content management system that was working for 17 years now, or that it was 17 years old, actually. We had at that time more than 6,000 pages published. We had our website in 6 different languages. We were market leader with a first position in ranking for all languages, so we couldn't lose that. We had more than 1 million page impressions per month. And as you can see, it was really a challenge not to lose all of what we already had. At that time as well, we only had one Drupal expert in our IT team who kept telling me, everything is possible with Drupal, Sarah, but I was keep answering, I don't know what I want. I don't know what is possible. So we actually didn't speak maybe the same language at that time. Philip, if you're hearing me, I think we speak now the same language, but not in 2017. And we also had a multidisciplinary team that had to be involved in the project. So we had to be content, IT, and UX working on the same project, but you know, you maybe have this experience as well, that not all departments speak the same language sometimes. So it's really difficult to manage that. As I've said at the very beginning, I am a product owner and certified Scrum Master. So for me, it was clear I didn't want to relaunch. I wanted to make it agile. For those of you who don't know what agile or Scrum means, it is basically keep it simple and do it step by step. That was my approach, and that is how I tackled the whole project. Like when you're moving houses, you don't want to pack a lot of things and then move it to your new home with all things you don't need anymore. So that's the first thing I did. I cleaned up some of the old pages we had in Akayo that we didn't want anymore. And I actually joined together some old sections as well in my mind, I mean, in the organization part, that I want two sections maybe that used to be separated. I put them together so that I could have a better overview of what we wanted. After work, I identified work packages. For example, we wanted a new section, the blog. We want also to migrate some pages the same way they were, like, for example, privacy policy or terms and conditions. You don't want really to change that. You just need a page to show them. We also had pages that need a change in design. Some that needed both content and design changes. And for other pages, we just wanted a really new concept, because Akayo was okay, but really the layout was not up to date anymore, and you could tell. I will get now into the different work packages I tackled. The very first section that we did was the blog. We used to have a news section in Akayo, but it was not really the standard approach. So we wanted to create it a blog where we could actually use the storytelling approach, where we could have more lively information and also with a different tone and voice. For that, we used a normal template in Drupal. It was a custom-made template, but it was really simple with just the title, intro, picture, a body, some SEO aspects, of course, and a teaser picture for views. You can see here how actually it was. The body was really content. It was not done with anything else. And it was simple and it worked at that time. At the same time, we had our first approach to taxonomy since we created our sitemap, so that the new blog article were crawled by Google. After that, we saw, okay, the body is perfect for the blog, but we need something in between. We need more lively content. We need maybe to add a picture. We need to add something else. So Philip talked to me for the first time about the paragraph concept. This paragraph concept, I don't know if some of you have used it. I just pulled a poll so that you can answer that to me. But this paragraph is kind of, you just divide your text in different elements. For this, we created very basic elements such as text areas or picture left or picture right. And it was very basic for these pages where we just needed content with slightly elements. slightly new elements such as pictures. After that, after moving some of the pages like terms and conditions or privacy content, maybe very basic content pages, we saw we needed more. We needed more with the pages where we wanted an improvement in layout. So we created new elements for these paragraphs, such as maybe an info box, accordions, a photo gallery. We also added at that time other content types according to the sections that we had. For example, the FAQ, that was really important to us so that users could read our FAQ in a different way, with a view and also with columns, so that we also could keep having responsive design. So that we can also have a responsive design. That was okay at that time, but then we came to a point where we saw, okay, for marketing purposes, we need something else. We need something where we can have call to actions, where we could impress the users that landed to a Powerwall for the first time. So at that time, we created something new, really new, a new concept. We created a new width so that users could feel more spoken to when they landed at a Powerwall for the first time. Also, we created floated teasers, an element to make the layout really up to date and modern. We also tackled for the first time creating lists within the paragraphs with the taxonomies, and also we created multi-paragraphs. At that time, it was really new to us, but I guess that was what we needed. Here you can see actually the blog. I mean, the very first template we created. Here is the blog overview with a landing page and a view. And you can see in the back with how to spend your Christmas as an au pair, how simple our blog section or our blog article was. Now the video is new. It is embedded by Google, by YouTube, sorry. But at that time, we really only had content and the right column. And from there, we actually jump into the last project, and that was the landing page. Here you can see two examples with floated elements, with floated teasers. And as you can see, the change is huge. Nowadays, I have to say, not everything is perfect. In my opinion, we will need to change the blog at some point. It is really old, or it is some improvements that we would like to make. But I'm happy to say it is just one section that we have to change. Nowadays, for example, landing pages are perfect, and we have other templates that work really well. So for me, it is just one section that has to be changed or updated. I'm happy to say that we had this learning curve where IT and content, we didn't speak the same language at the very beginning, but all of a sudden we start talking the same language. They also could see what were our needs, and we could also say what we wanted in a technical way. So in case you want to move to Drupal soon, or maybe you want to make a relaunch of your website, I would really and strongly suggest to take the agile approach. This way it is, in my opinion, much better and actually faster. And you can say, okay, why better? Well, you learn from mistakes. If I would have done the whole relaunch from the very beginning, like I did with the blog, I would have nowadays a lot of websites and a lot of pages, and sections that would be nowadays out of date. And this way I actually learn from my mistakes and from the things that I needed, so I could express them better to my IT team faster, because yeah, it took us 2 years to move. I think a relaunch takes the same maybe, But nowadays I can say, okay, I have things done good. I have things that has been done well, but I only have to change one single section. Everything else is perfect. So my recommendation would be to go also from easy content types to the more difficult ones. As you can see, we took the blog. It was really simple with a simple tone and voice and a simple goal. And our very last approach, or our very last landing page, the very last template that we created were the landing pages, which have a marketing purpose and which are normally more difficult because that's the very first impression your user gets from you. So yeah, that's what I actually would suggest you to do. That was it. I will answer some of your questions now. I see here one from Roy. Which capabilities make you feel that Drupal is the right technology for your site? Roy, I must say it was Philip who convinced us. I must say at the very beginning we were for Concrete 5. I don't know if that rings a bell here, but then Philip convinced us that Drupal was the best option for us. And I'm really happy that we took it. I mean, it has advantages and disadvantages, of course, but that's what we have, and I'm happy with it, and also with the community that's behind it. Do you have any more questions about my experience and my content migration to Drupal? From Paul, what feedback did you get from the site's users? How did you collect the feedback? And did it lead to any changes to the site? Good question. We ran a Hotjar at that time so that we could actually see what was the before in our Akayo page and what was the after. For example, we did that with our FAQ pages. We also did that with our landing pages. We first moved the au pair landing page and we recorded it with Hotjar. We also did some heat maps. We saw where were our users active on the landing page, and we were able to amend mistakes, like for example, adding a call to action here instead of on another place. So we could actually learn from that and use it for the landing page for families, for example. Did it lead to any changes to the site? Well, from an SEO point of view, we had a lot of changes. We all of a sudden had more views, more page impressions. Sorry, the German word is Profil Sichtbarkeit, the visibility. Yeah. The SEO visibility was higher because actually we had less pages with more information and with a better layout of the information. So users didn't actually, that's also a change. We don't have that many support questions since then, since we present our content in a better way. I will, in case I haven't answered your whole question, Paul, just ask again. I will mark that as answered. Katrina asked, what was the way you migrated the old pages? Well, we actually had, we didn't have any way to migrate that automatically. What we did is we had some interns that actually help us with the migration. For example, all news that we wanted to migrate, they were the one copy pasting the whole HTML and the whole content because it was no way that our old CMS and the new one communicate. So the whole structure was different. So that was our approach to that. Hire some interns, and of course they learned a lot, but that was our way to migrate that. Also, we saw the pages, like for example, landing page for au pairs or for host families, we created a new concept. So what we did was first content and UX got together we discussed what we wanted to have, and then we actually created new content. And when at that time, we then tell IT what we wanted in terms of design, and that's where we created, for example, floated teasers or floated elements, or maybe user reviews in a carousel. And yeah, I guess we kind of have this first, I would say, we had our first approach from a content and UX perspective, and then we talked to IT. And when they were building the website, then we would go to another section, and then we created it. And then we wrote directly in Drupal the new content. Okay, we only have 4 minutes, left. In case you have any more questions, I will be happy to answer it. And I will also be here the whole week, so we can keep talking at some other point anyway. At that point, I would say thank you very much for your attention, and I hope this presentation helps you to have a better experience with Drupal. Thank you.